must be raring to go come tomorrow.
Yeah, it's, I think Gilly, the trainer, named us as the fresh five, and it's fair to say that first team training back, we were the five leading the charge. But it's been a great week. Really enjoyed being back in with the team and the boys, and really looking forward to getting out there. That's why we play rugby for rugby games, and it's going to be a pretty awesome one here tomorrow because we don't get to play the States very often, and I know I'm looking forward to it, and the boys are definitely keen to get stuck in.
These games, I suppose, can tend to open up a little bit more free-flowing, and maybe they can get a little bit scrappy at times. How do you ensure that it doesn't get to that point where you're trying to sort of score off every opportunity that you have and you do stick to those structures, those game plans that you set in place?
Yeah, we'd love to score off every opportunity, and it doesn't matter who we play against. If there is an opportunity, we want to back ourselves and take it. But like you said, it is an easy trap to fall into, and sometimes it's actually just taking the right option. Are we pushing the pass, or are we better off to, take the break down, secure that, and then potentially, if it was a 50-50 before, it might be really on to score then. And that's the hard thing as a rugby player. You've got to make sure you're making those decisions continuously through the game, and sometimes when you think it's really on, you're actually better off to not push the pass and just wait and let it happen naturally.
Just lastly, from me, I think Posy mentioned yesterday you were rooming with Josh Lord this week. I wonder how that's been, what you've made of his first week in camp. I'm sure it's probably a little bit intimidating, not only coming into an All Blacks camp for the first time, but having to room with the skip. How's that relationship been, and how has Josh's first week in camp been?
Yeah, Josh has been outstanding this week. He hasn't actually missed any sleep at all. He's arrived and slept all the way through the whole night. So he's obviously still hanging on to some of those teenage years and can sleep at the drop of a hat. So, which is a really good sign. He's, absorbed everything, and he's just got to go out there and trust himself. He's trained really well this week, and it's nice for him to have a few Chiefs boys out there that he knows pretty well. So I'm sure he'll go out there and do really well and do his family proud, like everyone wants to on their first one.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Cool. Chris, do you want to jump in?
Oh, hey Sam, just sort of following from that, have you seen boys come over and lose sleep over making their test debuts?
Yeah, it's funny how people react. Some people are, a little bit relaxed. Other people obviously wind themselves up over the whole week. But Josh has been outstanding. He's asked questions when he needed to, and he's also just sat, watched, learned, and done it that way as well. So everyone does it differently. I know for myself, I didn't think I was going to be named, so I was pretty relaxed until I got named in the team, and then things changed pretty quickly. Pretty nervous, as everyone can understand. But the same thing that we always say to new players: come in and be yourself, and go out there and play rugby. Don't try to be someone else. The reason you're here is because you've been picked because you're a great rugby player.
You're obviously running out as captain this weekend. When did you find out about that? What were the conversations like that Fozzie was going to pick you over Artie this time around?
Yeah, there's been heaps of conversations over the whole year, not just over the last few weeks. It's never just one person as captain, and I know that's a bit of a cliche, but the cool thing is we've got so many leaders in this group, and for myself, obviously I need a bit of game time. I haven't played a lot of rugby over the last 10 weeks, so really happy to get out there, and to be asked to be skipper is always nice, but it does come with extra responsibilities, and it's something that you've got to take in your stride. Artie's done an awesome job, and I've lent on Artie quite a lot this week because he obviously has the feel of the group of what it's been like over the last 6 or 7 weeks.
Just finally from me, how'd the lungs feel after a couple of hit-outs for Canterbury?
Yeah, the lungs didn't feel too bad. We obviously went into Golden Point, which was a little bit more than I thought I was going to end up with, going 85 minutes or whatever it was. But been training really hard. All the guys that were at home, whether injured or back for family reasons, have been doing some massive amount of work, and very similar to what the boys have been doing within the environment. So hopefully the lungs stand the test, but I'm sure I'll be heaving at some stage, and that's just what's expected.
Hey, thanks, man.
Cheers.
Cool. Kim, do you want to jump in next?
Sure thing. Hey Sam, I take it you guys have had a chance now to have a bit of a run around FedEx Field. What do you make of the stadium itself? How does it compare to others you've played on in a long career?
Yeah, it's an awesome stadium. We just had finished captain's run. It was really cool on the bus. When you drive up, it's kind of on the top of the hill, so you get to see it from a long way out. And it's pretty amazing just how big the car park is surrounding the stadium. And it's not until you actually get into the stadium you realise how many people they can fit in there. It is a awesome stadium with, I think there might have been 20 odd people, sprinkled around the stands. But it has that feel. You can tell that it's a special ground, and there's been some amazing things that have happened there before, and it's just a great privilege for us as All Blacks to be playing there.
And I think, any of us who watch American sport know the Americans know how to stage an event. So what are you kind of expecting, I suppose, from the crowd, from the atmosphere, and from what that should be like?
Yeah, the last time we were here, and when we played the States in, I think it was 2014, the crowd was unbelievable, regardless of the score line and what was happening in the game. Everyone was just passionate around watching the game, some of them understanding what the rules were, and you could tell that there was hype there, and a lot of the local people here are talking around, can the States host the Rugby World Cup in 27, and you can tell there's some real momentum going into rugby here, and it's pretty cool to see, and I think that's going to flow onto the game.
Well, since you've touched on that, what would you make of a World Cup in the States?
Yeah, I think the way they can put on a show, the NBA games that have been to an ice hockey game too, that's only part of it. It's the before, the halftime celebrations, the music, everything. They just do it so well. So I'm sure if it is here at any stage, whether it's 27 or after that, I'm sure they'll do an awesome job. And they've obviously got the infrastructure with some amazing stadiums, and it'll be a pretty cool place to come and for players to play in, but also supporters to come and be a tourist and have a look around.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam.
Awesome.
Cool.
Cheers.
Jamie?
Hey Joe. Hey Sam.
Hey man.
Hey, just following on from what Kim was talking about, the stadium itself is obviously pretty huge and impressive, but the field is, it's obviously configured for American football. And I was just watching your previous games in Chicago, and the field itself is really quite hard up in the corners, at least, with the end zone. Is the field itself smaller than what you usually play on? Like, do you know about that?
Can't say I got out a tape measure or anything like that, but it seemed to be pretty normal today when we're running around. The end goals are probably a little bit smaller than what we're used to, but I'm sure if either team gets over the line, they'll remember to put it down versus the throw the ball up because you got over the line. It seems to be pretty normal to me. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's cool. Was just checking. And just also, today is the 10th anniversary of winning the World Cup in 2011. You're the only All Black the only guy still in the All Blacks from that team. Is that something that you think about a lot? And how does it feel 10 years on?
It's amazing to say that we're waiting for Joe because they were running a little bit late from training, and looked at my phone quickly and had a couple of people send me a message around it. I can't say I'd even thought about it too much, but just quickly off the top of my head, it probably shows why I've got a few greys in my beard and things like that, but it's definitely something that you look back and go, how awesome was that? I remember at the time, I think I was 23, we hadn't won the World Cup for 24 years, and that was the same question about it asked in media every time I did it, was, how do you feel? You've never been alive as the All Blacks have been world champions. So it was pretty cool to be a part of that, and for myself that was the start of my All Black career, and hopefully we can have that in a couple of years for some of the young guys here too.
Cool. Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
Ollie, you got your hand up again. You going to ask another one?
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask one more. Sam, just on your Crusaders teammate George Bridge, he didn't have a great time of it in that first test against South Africa. Hasn't played since. Gets another chance, I suppose, to maybe redeem himself against the States. What have you seen from him, I suppose, in the week that you've been with the team, and how confident are you, I suppose, that knowing what you know about George and the way he plays and his work ethic, that he can bounce back from a performance like that, which I'm sure has probably weighed on his mind a little bit? Yeah,
I think you mentioned it there. Like, Bridgie's known as the winger around here that's got a massive engine and works really, really hard for the team, and obviously can finish a number of different ways when scoring tries, and that's one of the key things for a winger. Bridgie will go out there and trust himself like he always does, and I'm sure he'll put a performance in that he wants to. It's part of being a rugby player. Would love to play 10 out of 10 every time, but sometimes that's not the reality. But it's how you react and take on those things that you might have learnt from test match to test match, or game to game, or even trainings. So I'm sure he'll be doing that, and you can talk to him after the game with how he went.
Sam, can I just ask you, I saw that you guys have been doing some games with the NFL. Like, is everyone kind of embracing that whole thing? Is there interest there in the NFL, seeing as you're playing in the home of the Washington team?
Yeah, pretty cool. I suppose it's wherever we go, you kind of take on, what the locals do. And one of the first days we were here, Pete, who is kind of like our American sports guy, being the physio, he explained a couple of the rules because some people didn't know too many. But there's some fantasy leagues going on with the football and the NBA, so it's been pretty cool. I did see the boys find a hoop at some stage, and they snuck down there, and we're having a little play around. But that's the cool thing about travelling. You get to experience different sports, different cultures, and you get to see why some countries are the way they are. And I think if you look at America, they do sport so well. It's the entertainment that goes with it as well.